two major movies coming out next year. We have Avengers Doomsday in 2026, and then we have Avengers Secret Wars in 2027. And after that, what is the MCU going to be? Well, it seems like we'll at least know who's going to be leading the charge when it comes to the MCU after these next two Avengers films, as reports have been coming out that the Russo brothers are set to lead the MCU future after they are done with Secret Wars. This comes to us from MovieWeb. They say, we are still 2 years away from discovering how the MCU's multiverse saga comes to a close after Secret Wars. But it looks like even after the conclusion of Marvel Studios' divisive post-Endgame era, the Russo brothers will not be going anywhere anytime soon. If a new rumor from the Cosmic Circus's Alex Perez is correct, Kevin Feige is bringing the Russos into the so-called Marvel Parliament to oversee the mutant saga. While Anthony and Joe Russo have delivered some non-Marvel projects that have not received the best reviews, such as Netflix's The Electric State, it is hard for anyone to fault the work they did during the MCU's Infinity Saga, which resulted in arguably the best films of the entire franchise, whether it's Civil War, Winter Soldier, Infinity War, Endgame. Now, as well as finally returning to the double feature of Doomsday and Secret Wars. According to Perez's report, Marvel's bringing the Russos along for the ride post-Secret Wars as part of the famous Marvel Parliament, basically just overseeing the general story for the next saga. They want to avoid the mistakes they made with the multiverse saga in trying to branch out to many different story points and having multiple open endings without having a clear direction. If there has been one complaint about the recent years of the MCU, it is how many projects have either not lived up to the promise of what the multiverse has offered up or suffered from having no real direction. The Russos' involvement in the mutant saga is reportedly going to stop that from happening. So can the Russo brothers make the MCU great again? That is the big question, and that's what we all want to know. Rocky, what do you think about the Russo brothers possibly being in the MCU Parliament and helping lead the future of the mutant saga after they're done with their two films?
I think MCU Parliament is a dumb name. That's my first comment.
That's the first thing.
But I mean, going back to, you just listed it out, right? Civil War, Winter Soldier, Endgame, Infinity War. Like, those are all unbelievable Marvel movies. Those were amazing in my mind, and arguably some of the best ones out there of all the Marvel movies that have come out. I have faith in it. I think after we see Doomsday, we'll know. I feel like I will have a better gauge of like where the Russo brothers are. How could you kind of top what the mountaintop that you reached in the first phase. But I do have faith in them because those guys, they have a wide range. Most people know of the Russo brothers from the big MCU blockbusters, but those guys started off in TV, Community. Amazing. And that's an amazing show. And that was a cutting edge show. And they really did some really fun, incredible, like genre bending kind of things in a smaller way. So I can see them. What's that?
Oh, nothing. Oh. I mistyped something. I completely, sorry to cut you off.
No.
I completely agree with you. And I think something that like a really good point that you made, didn't even get to add my little thumbnail thing. I think a really good point that you made, and Jordan brings it up in the comments as well, is why are we focusing so much on after Doomsday and after Secret Wars when we don't even know if these Avengers movies are going to be any good?
Mm-hmm.
Like, just because the last two that they did were good doesn't mean that like all this like uncertainty over the past few years, not even knowing who's in the Avengers, is going to be pulled off in the end. They still have the task to pull off before we even start thinking about the mutant saga in the future after Secret Wars. So it's all well and good that you're trying to think of people to solidify an actual plan, which you should have been doing this whole time, which I don't understand why. But at the same time, the focus needs to be on these two movies, and these two movies need to hit, because if they don't, who knows if there will be an MCU that people will even be interested in seeing.
Yeah. And I think if not them, then who, right? Like if you had to plan out and you're given that task of planning out, I'd kind of bet on the Russo brothers, you know, out of all the directors that have done something in the MCU. I mean, maybe Ryan Coogler is probably the next one that comes to mind as like somebody who's got a great vision and can do different types of stories. And he's kind of, you know, an it director right now. But could he handle like, or would he even want to handle like the Marvel future, right? So that's why I think the Russos are probably the best bet that they've got if they had to bet on anybody.
And you know, the good thing is with the Russo brothers, they have Agbo, they have their production company, and so it's like they can still be producing movies while helping spearhead the direction of the MCU. You know, they just signed on to produce the Rambo prequel. So they have other things, other irons in the fire. And so I think they might be more in a place now where their production company's up and going. They have projects in the pipeline, and then they can still play in the MCU sandbox a little bit while still doing what they want to do as filmmakers. And so I think that's why this would be more attractive to them now, because they are more solidified as a production company. Even though they've had some few misses, people still want to work with them. They're still the Russo brothers. So like, don't get it twisted. So I think they're in a place now where they can be part of the parliament and help push the MCU forward after these two Avengers movies are done.
Have they mentioned who else is part of this parliament? Just Kevin Feige
I think it's probably you, me, and all the other people. Nothing to do. No, I don't know. I mean, it could be the king, the queen. It's parliament, right?
Prince Charles is there.
Yeah. I did saw I think the Friendsgiving I was at last night, I did see a dude that looked like Prince Charles.
Wow.
Yeah, he had the, you know, I don't have much, but he had little sides, you know. So yeah, that is what I really think is the most important thing. Focus on these two movies being great. Yeah. Once you have the buzz from the first one and people are loving Doomsday, then in the middle announce, hey, these guys are going to be spearheading the mutant saga. Oh my God. Can't wait to see Secret Wars to see what they do after. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's interesting that it's coming out now, but when it's slow, people don't got anything to talk about. They're going to start pushing out stuff that maybe should have came down the pipeline a little bit later.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, yeah, you have something to say?
I was just going to say they probably want like to reassure Marvel fans like the future is going to be good, guys. Yes, because I know it's been a little shaky here, but here's our solution. Yeah.
So, I agree. This is definitely a tactic to get people to go see those Avengers movies as well. To solidify, like, we have a plan. They are the Cylons of Hollywood. We have a plan.
Yes.
Okay, guys. Well, let us know what you guys think. Are you excited to have the Russo brothers possibly lead the MCU's vision moving forward after Secret Wars? Or do you think maybe there's someone else that might be better for the job? Maybe a Ryan Coogler, maybe a Peyton Reed, since Ant-Man 3 was so good. Sorry, Peyton. Let me know your thoughts. Drop them below.